Good Monday morning, everybody. I got a few minutes of Monday morning motivational minutes with Michael Merritt to get you pumped up, ready for the week. Take on that challenge, because we know challenges are going to come our way, but when we put on that coat of armor, we can fight those arrows off. So I want you to get ready for the day. I want you to have a magnanimous day and a magnanimous week. So the message that's on my heart this morning is a message that I really received yesterday from a sermon that I was watching. I watch several different pastors on Sundays, and I listen to different things and many podcasts and many different preachers and pastors, and one that really just got me yesterday. And so I wanted to share a little bit of that information with you this morning, because it really is something I think will help benefit you in your life. And that's what I always do with Merritt Coaching Group. You know, our podcast is Born to Succeed. It's all about you. We know you are born to succeed, and I want to help you get there. You know, when you choose to win, you can really make a difference in your life. So I want to give you a little insight today. And the thing that we're going to talk about is PTS, patterns, trauma, and scripts. All right. So when I talk about patterns, we're going to talk about a few different things as far as what are some patterns that you've seen in your life, what are some patterns that happen to you, and then how can we change it? So let's get up here on the board real quick. I know it's kind of hard sometimes to see the board, but it helps me, and I like to write on the board, and I like to talk on the board. So here we go. So we're going to start with patterns. So patterns, when I talk about patterns, what are patterns that you grew up with? You know, no matter what you do, you have a mother and you have father and you have genes, right? And I tell everybody this that's in the medical training business every day, that, you know, you can pick out your pants every morning, but you cannot pick out your jeans. So therefore you have what? You have your mother and your father inside of you. And what did you grow up with? Well, sometimes they may not have been around, but whoever was around you, mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, aunts, uncles, we picked up patterns from those people. We picked those up from friends. And some of those are good patterns, and that made you what you are today, and a magnanimously amazing person. But some of those patterns are really bad. Maybe some of those patterns are anger, sadness, depression. Are you loud? Are you quiet? You know, sometimes we do just the opposite of our parents. Maybe your parent was an alcoholic, and so you don't drink at all. Or maybe you are just like them. We see the patterns. And what we want you to do is be a cycle breaker. I want you to break those patterns today. What patterns do you see? Are you withdrawn? Are you lazy? Are you mean? Are you prejudiced? You know, in my life, I've had a lot of patterns in my life, and a lot of them, as I grow and get closer to God, I release them and go, man, how could I have ever had that pattern? Because I grew up with that. I grew up in a very prejudiced society. I really did. My family was a lot of prejudice in my family. And it's something that I had to break over the years. And being a medical provider at a young age, I had to realize, man, everybody is the same. And I realized that, and I wasn't like my family, but there was times that I still had prejudice in my heart, and I had to get rid of that. Meanness, anger, aggravation, being quick to snap. What are the things that you have picked up throughout your life that we need to break today? Because generational bondage does our future generations no good. And when you can stop something that you can see today, we can benefit all of our future generations. But you have to recognize that pattern. So today, pattern. What are the patterns that you see that you know you need to change? As a Choose to Win coach, we tell you what? Changing one small habit at a time, replacing it with a good habit. Next thing you know, transformation has occurred. So today, what is the patterns that you see that you need to work on? The first step is what? Recognition. Second, trauma. What's the trauma that you've had in your life? We all have had trauma. Physical abuse, mental abuse, neglect. PTSD is what? Post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's from what? Everything. It could be from somebody that died in your family. It could be because you had a car wreck. And now every time you get in the car, you still see somebody coming across the road and hitting you head on, and you breaking your leg. Or your child in the car getting hurt. And so you have trauma from this. And so what do we have to do? We have to release the trauma. We have to release the trauma that's been inflicted upon us. Because why? It happened to you. This happened to you. That doesn't mean that's who you are. You know, I was a firefighter for a very long time, but that's what I did for a living. I served people. That doesn't mean that's who I was. So this happened to you. This isn't you. You're an amazing person. And so the patterns, once we notice those, that we can start changing patterns. I don't want to be angry, because that's what I've done in my life. I don't want to be angry like that. I don't want to snap like that. I don't want to talk to people ugly. I want to love more. I want to be a better friend. I want to have better relationships. I don't want to be the person that people are scared of. That's not the person to be, man. So when you realize the patterns, and then you realize the trauma. What's the trauma that's been inflicted upon you? Let's not inflict that trauma upon somebody else. And again, that could be physical, it could be mental, it could be neglect, it could be something that you never got because you were supposed to get it and you thought you were, but you didn't. And that to you was trauma, because it really, really hurt when nobody told me how great I was. And it really, really hurt when they weren't there at my baseball game or my football game or my gymnastics meet or my soccer game. They weren't there for my wedding. They weren't there for me in holidays. And you say, why? I don't understand. The thing is, you got to remember is that we can't control other people, but we can control what we do. And then that will impact other people around us, and that will bring other people closer to us. So trauma today. What is the trauma that's been inflicted upon you, and how do we get rid of it? The number one way to get rid of it is by talking about it. Forgive other people. Release this. Release it. You've got to release the trauma that's been inflicted upon you, upon somebody. If they've given you trauma, you have to do what? You've got to get rid of it. And the way we do that is through what? Forgiveness. And forgiveness doesn't mean that you're allowing them the permission to say what you did to me was okay. It's what? Forgiveness is simply saying, I'm not going to hold anger, bitter, resentment, feelings against you anymore, because it's weighing me down. It's got my leg stuck in a bear trap and I'm trying to move forward and I can't, because my leg is stuck and I'm stuck in the past. And that's why your car has what? A very small rear view mirror and a great big windshield, because we should be looking forward, not backwards. Right? Okay. So our third thing, guys, scripts. Scripts. What does that mean? That means the scripts that we're born with and they're put upon us. Right? The labels, the expectations. These come from mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and friends, neighbors, everybody that comes into your life. They expect you to be the what, the who. What are you supposed to drive? Where are you supposed to live? How do I vacation? What am I supposed to eat? What job am I supposed to do? Your parents had that expectation the day you were born. Dads are really bad about it. They want our child to do what a lot of times? Follow in my footsteps, son. You're going to do just like I did. For me, that's the one thing I discouraged. Even though being a firefighter paramedic is a great job, I discouraged my son from that. Why? Because I knew being a firefighter paramedic is a really tough job. And there's been many a Christmas when I was at the fire station for 24 hours just wishing I was at home with my family. And so it is a great job. But it's not something I wanted my son to do. So from an early age, I didn't expect him to do that. I expected him to do a job that made him happy. And I told him that throughout his life. You do have to go to college, my man. And you do have to get a good job. At whatever makes you happy. Because you got to do it for the rest of your life, all right? But what are the scripts we've been put on us from somebody else? Where? When? What? How? These are things that you have to let go of, because you are your person. And you can't go through life satisfying somebody else, because that's not going to make you happy, and then you'll not going to have a happy life. I mean, I don't know how many times I heard the saying happy wife, happy life, and really and truly it's what? Happy spouse, happy house. How many divorces do we have nowadays? Does happy wife, happy life work? Come on, man. We are equal. God put us together. It's happy spouse, happy house. We're both happy. We are not meant to be servants to one another. We're supposed to serve each other. I'm not supposed to be a slave to my wife, nor is she supposed to be a slave to me. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. We're supposed to love each other and be equal. So, what are the scripts that you have in your life that you're now passing on to somebody else? Because that's what we don't want to do. We want to break the cycle today. So patterns, trauma, and script. What are the patterns that you're going to break? What are the trauma that you're going to release? And what are the scripts that you're going to ignore and go, I know they wanted me to do that, but that's not what I'm going to do because that's not what I want to do. I'm going to be happy if I do this. And I have to live my life, not somebody else's. Right? And that's the problem. Too many times we get stuck trying to live somebody else's life, and that does not work. You've got to live your life because you've got one of them. And you make a really great you. That was one of the things Zig Ziglar said all the time. He said the second you figure out that you'd make a really terrible somebody else and you'd make a really great you, the second you start to excel. So today I want you to think about patterns and trauma and the scripts that are in your life. And then let's break those generational bondage things that they put on us, so that we don't pass them on to anybody else, guys, all right? And we're going to make our future generations so much better because you're going to give them the wisdom from what? The mistakes that we've learned. And so many times our past generations they just didn't do that because we didn't talk about it and we just swept stuff under the rug. But we're not going to do that anymore. In today's age with media and society, more than ever, we can figure out things to help us get to the next level. And one way to release the self-negative thoughts that I have is right here. Because where does the negative thoughts come from? Where does the limiting thoughts come from? I can't do that because I can never do that. That's great for them, but not for me. Why isn't it for you? It's all meant for all of us. So you've got it today. Figure out what are the patterns, trauma, and scripts that you need to keep, and then the ones that you need to get rid of. And one small habit at a time, we're going to get rid of those. We're going to transform our life one small habit at a time, right? Get rid of one bad habit, put in a good habit, and you, my friend, will change your life. So that's some words of wisdom. I know it's motivational minutes, and I've gone on like 12 today, but it was on my heart, so I had to share it with you because why? I love you guys. And I don't do this for me. I do this because I want to share the word. I want to share the word to y'all. So, at Merit Coaching Group, Michael Merritt, check us out. The Born to Succeed podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Merit Coaching Group. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Subscribe, rate, share, because somebody else needs to hear this word today. And even if out of this 12, 13-minute video, they just listen to 2 minutes of it. If 1 minute, 1 second, 1 word resonates, then I have accomplished what I wanted to today. Because that's all I'm trying to do, is to get 1 word to resonate with 1 person. And therefore, whatever I do, I have made a difference in your life. My friends, you have an amazing day. Remember, you can have everything you want in life if you just help enough others get what they want and need. Remember the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. Learn to love more. Learn to live more. You got 1 life. Let's make the best of it. Have an amazing day, an amazing week. Until next time, I love you, baby. Bye-bye.